All right, so BT23 is coming out this week, and we got some new support for our Ghost deck. I'm going to take you through what a deck list looks like now that we've upgraded it with these new cards. Starting with our eggs, not much change there. We have 4 BT20 Demi-Meramon. On deletion, return 1 Digimon card with the Ghost trait from trash to hand. And that's just overall good. It's the in-art type egg. It allows you to only need to draw one piece of your puzzle per each level, and you can still continue to recycle them. But if you want, in the past I was playing one BT16 Cupimon, so on deletion, by trashing 1 card in your hand, gain 1 memory. That's when I was playing Ukomon. I'm currently not playing Ukomon in this deck, so if you want to, you can actually split this between 3 Demi-Mera and 2 Cupimon. Going to our level 3s, we're starting off with BT20 Ghostmon. We're playing 4 of those. This is our Searcher. On play, reveal top 3, get a Liberator and a Ghost. Inheritables, on deletion, gain a memory. Then we are playing 4 BT21 Ghostmon. So when this digivolve into a Ghost, you can reduce the cost by 1. On deletion, gain a memory is the Inheritable as well. Now, this is probably my favorite Ghostmon to digivolve in the back and start doing all my combos later on. But if you don't have it, that's not absolutely necessary to have it. It's just a really good card to have. Then we're playing 3 of our new BT23 Ghostmon. So on play, on deletion, one of your Digimon with the Ghost trait gains blocker until the opponent's turn ends. Inheritable is also on deletion, gain a memory. This isn't amazing, but there's certain matchups that I want to test this for, so that's why it's in there. If it doesn't work out, well, then I'm just going to replace it with a Ukomon. And then going on to level 4s, we got 4 BT20 Bakemon. So when digivolving, if you have 1 or fewer Tamers, you can play a Violet and Boots. And then on deletion, gain a memory is the Inheritable. Now, this isn't an amazing card, but we want to get our Violets out there as fast as possible, so that's why we're playing 4 of this. And then we're playing 2 of our new BT23 Bakemon. On play, when digivolving, by deleting 1 of your Digimon, delete 1 of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. And the Inheritable for this is also on deletion, gain a memory. The effect's not amazing. It's kind of hard to trigger and not delete yourself. So, you know, this is more mid-game, having multiple bodies on the board from your recursion plays or whatever, but I don't see that being very useful as of right now. So really this is here just to be more consistency in drawing the on deletion, gain a memory inheritables. Finally, we have 3 BT15 Bakemon. So on when digivolving and on deletion, draw 1, then trash 1 card. This is one of your few ways that you can cycle through in order to draw your Chimeramon, so that's why it's important to play this still. And then Inheritable is Retaliation, which we don't really use too often, but it's there if you need it. So those are all our level 4s, and then onto our level 5s, starting with the new Phantomon. We're playing 4 from BT23. So same on deletion as the old Phantomon. You can play a level 4 or lower Digimon card. That's also the Inheritable. But what's really good about this is that its its hand effect is that you can digivolve it on top of a Ghostmon while you have a Violet on play. You just tuck a Bakemon from trash underneath the Ghostmon, and then you digivolve for 3, ignoring Digivolution requirements. And if you use this with BT21 Ghostmon, well, then you're able to digivolve for a cost of 2 instead. So this is really good just because it furthers your plays faster. But we are playing 3 BT20 Phantomon, and this is important because it still has Execute. The new Phantomon does not, whereas this old one does, and this allows us to close out game without needing our Necromon or Dualhamon still in hand. But it's still a good card to digivolve on top of your initial stack if you need it. Otherwise, it's just one of those cards that either way, you need to see any of your Phantomons in order to get your play started, which is very important. And then we're also playing 3 Chimeramon. We play a lot of level 4 bodies out on the field, so this is easy to DNA digivolve into. And 3 is a bit excessive. So if you want to cut this down to 2, you're more than welcome to. In its place, it would be the 4th Necromon, because going to our level 6s, we're only playing 3. Now, you do need to see your Necromon as well for your plays. We need to see at least your level 6 or your level 7, but Necromon is the ideal level 6 or the ideal top end. So if you want to cut one of your chimeras for a necro, you can do that. Now with Necromon, it's just your main card here. Execute, security attack +1. It is 12k, and some of the newer Digimon or the newer meta decks do have really big bodies in there. So there's always a chance that it's not going to hit both securities, but that's, you really have no control over that. On play, it deletes a Digimon with the lowest level, and then it plays a level 5 or lower body. And then on deletion, and when Digivolving, when Digivolving, it also deletes a Digimon with the lowest level. And then on deletion, you can also play another level 5 Digimon with the Ghost Trait. And so in the past, it was kind of hard to get the on-play effect for playing a body. But now with our new level 7 from BT23, Dualahamon, you're going to be able to play this because Dualahamon has quite a few different effects, but we're going to start off with Piercing, Security Attack +1, and Execute, and then when Digivolving, you'll delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level, and then if this effect didn't delete, this Digimon gains +5k DP, so it makes it 19k. That's big enough to hit anything in security safely, and then because Execute deletes yourself at the end of that attack, on deletion, you may play one level 6 or lower Digimon card with the Ghost Trait from your trash without paying the cost. So we're playing 3 of this because there's some matchups that it's really important to see this, because what this does is this ends up playing our Necromon. And when Necromon's played, it plays a body. Usually it would be like a Ghostmon, for example, from BT23, so you can make your Necromon a blocker. And then when it dies, it plays another body, probably a Phantomon. If Phantomon dies, it plays another body. So now there's a lot of recursion in this deck to where if your bodies are constantly getting deleted, they can continually replace themselves. And Dualahamon makes that much easier to do. However, it is 4 cost to Digivolve on top of Necromon, and you're probably not doing that too often. Whereas if you have a Violet in play, you can Digivolve on top of a Phantomon for a cost of 6. That's really expensive, and you probably don't have enough memory gain in order to keep turn after that. So just know that the turn's probably going to end. But if you have one of those turns where you know you can't OTK that turn, Dualahamon might be the better top end to go into as opposed to Necromon. Then we have, for our Tamers, BT23 Violet and Boots. We're playing 4 of this. So start a main, you can return her to the bottom deck to play another Violet and then a Ghostmon from trash without paying the cost. And then when your Digimon Digivolve into a Ghost, you can suspend her in order to give that Digimon Rush for the turn. So this is really good because it's essentially our recovery play, but also it is our combo extender. So, of course, the old issue was when you were playing these lines off of your Phantomon and Necromon, you would not be able to attack, so you'd have to go into Chimeramon to be able to attack, and then you still wouldn't be able to close out game because then you had Digimon just sitting there. BT23 Violet kind of solves that problem for us. However, she's also recovery play, so let's say your opponent takes out your entire board, and now it's your turn. You still have to Digivolve in the back and hatch and do all that. You can use this Violet, bottom deck her, to play another Violet, ideally her. Well, it has to be her for this. So you play her, and then you play a Ghostmon. Now that Violet can give it Rush. So that's where we're playing 4, is because we want to be able to use that as often as possible if we need to. Now, even if you can't do that, even if you can't play this specific Violet, just playing another Ghostmon to start off your turn and being able to go up the line and wipe your opponent's board is also really good, but you want to see multiple of these in your hand if you know that you're not going to be able to OTK. The last time we're playing is our BT20 Violet. So start a main phase. If your opponent has a Digi, gain 1 memory. And then your turn, whenever your Ghost Trait Digimon are deleted, you can suspend her to have a Digimon with Ghost Digivolve into a Ghost Trait for reduced cost of 2. And I'm sorry, it actually doesn't have to be a Ghost that it already is. It just has to be Digivolving into a Ghost. So we're playing 3 of these. They're not absolutely needed on the field, but they really make the game much easier, especially when you're trying to extend your combos, and you do want to see at least 1. Now, going on to our options, we've got Wisdom Training, so generic good stuff. We're playing 3 of this, reveal top 2, get a purple, and then you can Digivolve for reduced cost of 2. And then our unique emblem, Soul Banquet. So main, you can play 1 Ghostmon or Violet from your hand or trash without paying the cost, and place this card in the battle area. And then when you're on your turn, when any of your Violets would suspend, one of your Digimon with the Ghost trait may Digivolve into a Digimon card with Ghost and Liberator traits in the hand with the Digivolution cost reduced by 3. So this is a really good effect, much like all the other unique emblems. However, it's a little bit harder to pull off than, for example, Rocks, because our Violets really don't suspend to give us value unless we're already mid-combo. So BT23 Violet, you can suspend whenever you want, or whenever one of your Digimon is Digivolving up, but then you miss out on giving it Rush if it doesn't, or if it can already attack. Whereas BT23 Violet, or BT20 Violet, I'm sorry, she only suspends when one of your ghosts is deleted. And so these are kind of like really niche situations where you want to suspend them. For example, BT20 Violet when a secondary ghost is deleted, or this Violet in Boots where you delete her when you're just Digivolving up the line regularly. So it's harder to trigger our unique emblem for the Digivolution as opposed to Rocks, for example, where Close can Digivolve just whenever you're starting your combo by trashing a source for one of your early effects. So ours is a little bit harder to use, but there's still some good applications for it. And then lastly, we're playing 1 Purple Scramble. It reduces the Digivolution cost by 3 for one of your Digimon, but what we're really using it for is that the delay effect to play a 2k or DP or less Digimon at the start of our turn if our board's been cleared. So this also is a way that we can recover in conjunction with new Violet in Boots. And I do want to fit in more Purple Scrambles, but I just got to see, what could I make room for it. Most likely I'll probably cut a Dualhamon and a Chimeramon to make room for that 4th Necro and that 2nd Purple Scramble. But this deck is definitely an OTK deck still. You really aren't trying to make the games last too long. And there's a few different ways that you can build this. We have another Necromon as well. Probably pop that up on the screen. I'm not a huge fan of it, but maybe it does something that I'm not thinking of yet. If you want to see how this deck plays as far as its basic combo, you can also view this video that's going to pop up on the screen. It's the first part of this series of learning to play Necromon, and thanks for watching.